2.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Movie Manifest meeting. I'm John Chun, joined by Jacob Blevins and Jack. Well, no, not Jackson. Actually, we've got another member, and he's going to introduce himself at this time.
Hey guys, I'm Spencer Adamy, aka The Tank. It's my first time being on here, and man, it's been a long time coming. But today we're talking about the Batman.
The Batman.
Yeah. So not a better way to start it off. I popped my Manifest movie meeting cherry on this one.
Yeah, try saying that 10 times fast. You can't.
The first movie with your time, I guess. Kidding.
So he, like you mentioned, it's the Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz. You got Paul Dano, Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell. The names just keep coming, honestly. And yeah, it's basically brief synopsis. You have the Riddler, sadistic serial killer, who is targeting key political figures across Gotham, and Batman is investigating the corruption. Man, let's get into the initial thoughts.
What a good Batman villain for the 100th time, I guess. A villain that I don't really know how much I disagree with him, which is the specialty of that universe. I think just really adds more to a movie when you're like, is he wrong? Is he a bad guy? You know?
Yeah. Well, you look at Ledger from The Dark Knight, and that's what keeps people coming back to that character. And yeah, I could definitely see some stuff there. But I would wager I was sitting after the thing, I was thinking, this is the scariest Batman villain I've ever seen out of anything put on the screen. And I was like, I could say that confidently. I don't know if y'all agree or disagree, but I think in terms of actually real fear, I think that guy takes it for me. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll piggyback and say, I mean, not only like the scariest Batman. I mean, I think it's definitely like the scariest, darkest, comic book superhero movie ever made.
Yeah.
For sure. And definitely in terms of the tone of the movie, for sure. And this movie is basically Batman meets Seven and Zodiac together, and they do that in flying colors. I mean, they sort of like, they do that in flying colors. And I guess like in terms of the Riddler, and I think that's interesting what you mentioned, Chun, is like you kind of like compare it to, it's like, I mean, once you think about it, I mean, like they make sense. They're understandable villain, like their motives are understandable. So
for sure.
And that's something that you always want from a villain. You don't want to have like some lazy or just like, oh, like he's evil just because he's evil. It's like, no, there needs to be some sort of like understanding behind them. It's like, can I buy their actions? And it's like, yeah, I do. So in terms of Paul Dano as the Riddler, I think he did a really good job. I mean, I tried to watch the older Batmans in preparation for this movie, and no offense to Jim Carrey, but this is light years. This is light years.
To be fair, totally different take.
Yeah, but, totally different.
When you mix the two together,
I mean, whenever you have both of those next to one another, I mean, I didn't think it was like a big hurdle to jump.
It's fair, because I mean, it was more. So, he definitely did more of the humor.
But I will say, I mean, if they ever do another Riddler, do another Riddler, another Batman movie or something, down the line, I mean, I think people will start comparing, their performances to his.
Yeah.
We gotta get into Robbie P though. That's what my sister called him. That's what I've been getting into. We gotta start talking about Rob P, and the thoughts on him. We can go on about Dano all day, but what about Robert Pattinson?
Dude, what a great take on Batman. I don't know who wrote it. I guess is Matt Reeves the one that was responsible, but by far my favorite take on Batman ever. A lot of the others, you see that playboy billionaire jerk, like when Christian Bale buys the whole restaurant, just because
Right.
he can. You don't see anything like that in this one. He's a moody emo detective. Like, I don't know. I just love the character and the motivation. I think he played it really well. He's this brooding figure. He's not really like jacked like Christian Bale. You know, Christian Bale was like 215 pounds in Dark Knight Rises. That's a
Right.
big boy. I just feel like it was like a sleeker, cooler, more realistic Batman than it just felt more real to me than what we normally see. I think I loved it.
Yeah,
I'll
something
agree.
people have
Well,
to kind of. Oh, sorry, Chun.
well, before you, in case you, I wanted to piggyback on that because, like, I was thinking the exact same thing about probably, and I'm not sure if it's due to Robert Pattinson or due to the writing, probably a mix of both. But like, and this isn't a spoiler for sure. If you know Batman, you know the origin story. But this is one of the only Batman where it's like I felt where he came from in his origin. Like he actually reflects on that, and like you can feel like emotion connected to that instead of just that kind of rich character and then the superhero character. It's like this man actually has some feeling to it, and I really think that I would agree. I don't know. I won't go as far as to say favorite overall, but like as far as Batman, Robbie P might be my Batman, and that might be a hot take, but that's where I'm at.
Shoot.
True.
Yeah,
No, but what I was gonna say is that I mean I think it's imperative to know like going into this movie that or what Chun kind of mentioned and that there is like this isn't an origin story of Batman. I mean you don't see his parents, getting shot in an alleyway, when he was 10 years old. You don't see any of that. Like he is Batman from the very start of this movie. But also this is not. I mean the movie is called The Batman. This is Bruce Wayne is barely in this movie. He's not Bruce Wayne in
right.
this movie.
Right.
I mean,
He's
this is
not.
a
No.
total Batman. He's like, whenever you see him like on screen, he still has that Cape Crusader, mentality and something like this, addictive quality of being Batman within him. And I mean, he say like, try not to get like too much like into sports. But I mean, he calls himself like a nocturnal animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, so like you don't really see Batman. I mean, it's more of like Batman trying to become Bruce Wayne
Dude.
by the end.
Yes.
So
There's a Riddler quote exactly about that too.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is Christian Bale Bruce Wayne in the first movie? Like 95% of the time he's Bruce Wayne, and then he's kind of
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, quite a bit. I mean, because we really don't see him like become Batman. I feel like maybe probably like halfway through Batman begins, maybe a little before that, maybe like 40 minutes in when he gets back from
Yeah.
training
Yeah.
up in the mountains. But after that, I mean, he's still kind of learning the ropes and trying to get all like his gear, building the cave and everything like that. So I'll probably say, yeah, maybe it's about 60% Bruce Wayne, 40% Batman.
But what was this one? 9
Yeah, this one's like
5.
95% Batman, 10%
Maybe 5 Bruce.
And
Yeah.
even when he's
If that.
Bruce, he's dark and head down with
Well,
the
he's trying to. It's like he's trying to be Bruce, like Spencer called it. Like he's like it's like hard for him to, and that's just an interesting take. That honestly, I don't think any of the Batmen have done it this way. And it's just crazy how, as much as it's been remade, they're still finding ways to make it original, and it's really good. Um, so this one be more toward a Spencer question here. Matt Reeves behind the camera.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How did he handle it?
I mean, whenever I heard he was, because originally Ben Affleck was tapped to direct.
Oh,
This
no.
He was originally tapped because like when he was brought on to play, Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Batman vs Superman and Justice League, they went to him like, "Hey, do you want to do a Batman movie?" And then of course he was attached to it, but and then due to certain circumstances, he kind of fizzled out of the role and said like, and they still wanted him to, but he's like, "Hey, like this shouldn't be, this should be for someone who is a fan." And you can tell Matt Reeves is a fan
Right.
of Batman. And he's like listen to interviews by him like talk about and using like graphic novels and comics and artwork and though of course like exploring something that we never seen before in a Batman movie. But I mean I thought he I mean, just the rain and just the way like Gotham City is depicted. I thought it was just beautiful.
The lighting, very, very good use of light. The score, use of musical score, one of the best in Batman.
Dude,
My favorite Batman score ever.
agree.
I mean, come on, like, yeah,
killed it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but listen to it before I went, like on the drive like to the theater, and then like afterwards like listening to it at night. Like I couldn't get enough of it. It's I mean, no disrespect to Danny Elfman or James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer, but Michael Jenkins, like that's, if I had to think like any score from a Batman movie, this has got to be.
Well, he takes songs and he deconstructs them, and that's like you see that all through his stuff, and like that changes the way you feel about certain things. It's literally a genius. Yeah, definitely that dude is next level for sure.
Yeah, I would say if you've been working on a project and you think this is your year to get your cinematography or your score Oscar, wait till next year. I think that you have a tough one to beat, and it's March. So good luck. Because like you said, then it felt like I knew every song, but I didn't really know what was playing.
Yeah.
Like I think I've heard this before, but I didn't really know what they were in the guitar and the piano. And then the shots in like the car chase and the motorcycle, the using mirrors and things like that. It's just so beautiful. The color, just everything about it. It's just visually.
It's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I feel like there's been a lot of praise. We got to try to shift into some any knocks, any negatives that you can come up with. Anything that you're like, maybe not. What are some negatives?
Well, I'm the one who has seen it twice. And
it's true.
Yeah, I've seen it twice. And at first, the first time I saw it, I mean, you come in with these expectations and you're a little nervous, coming into this big movie. But and then I'll say like the second watch sort of helped me because I understood what kind of story I was getting into, and I knew like the beat. Because at first, like it felt it's a long movie.
Yeah.
It is a
Sometimes
very
it felt
movie.
long. Yeah.
And the first time I saw it, I mean, it didn't feel long, but the second time I went, I was like, I hope it doesn't feel long now, because at first I didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
But now that I know what's going to happen, I was like, I hope I don't feel it dragging. And thankfully, it moved by a lot quicker.
Okay.
There you go.
That's for me. Now I can't say that'll be the same for everyone else, but or because I kind of have this thing, or I kind of like trick myself out a little bit, and like, I hope, that scene it didn't go by as slow as I thought. We're already here. Oh, okay. Like I do that sometimes, so it kind of like tricked me out. So though, and then there's one scene that, I mean, like I said, this movie is gorgeous. Okay, and I heard I love like some like aspects, like specifically there's a chase scene involving Batman.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great scene,
dude.
It's great. However, I kind of didn't really know what was going on a lot in the chase, so I didn't really care for a whole lot of like the close-ups and the like claustrophobic feel to it, like being like inside the car with the Penguin, or inside the car or in the Batmobile with Batman. I didn't mind it. I guess like Matt Reeves is just trying to like fit us in, and also like it's raining, it's dark, you don't really know what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I guess that's what he was sort of going for. But at first I was like, wait, where's he at? What's going on? And I guess that was just like, so it was kind of like jogging with my brain a little bit. And so, I mean, I don't know how you guys like felt about it, but that was just something that I sort of like caught on to. I mean, I love like the big like practical effect at the end was amazing. I love that for sure.
There was one scene, I don't know if it's in the same scene, but if it may be, there was one effect that was kind of dodgy. And I'll just say when it was a cool thing that was done, but like when it happens, there's an effect almost that I don't know if I'd say it reminded me of like a green screen or what it reminded me of, but it was a little, it was really quick. And I looked over at Maddie and I was like, what was that? But like in terms of that, like that
When
made me feel kind of weird.
when was it? I have one in my head. When was that?
It's one where he's falling,
Okay.
and it's like
Okay, there's one. He has a
Okay.
parachute.
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one I'm
that's the
thinking
one?
of.
Okay.
He like rolls end over end. It looked fake. It did.
Okay, yeah, that's what. And it was one where, like, compared to like when you make a movie that looks technically good, when something like that happens, it really sticks out because you're like, okay, that chase. I'd have to watch that back, and I will say, due to a second watch, y'all know my rating already, but like this rating is definitely a jumping off point for me. If I watch it again, we could go one direction or we could go another.
Yeah.
A second watch is really going to help. I feel like where I land on this.
Yeah, I will say that the chasing. There were times when I was like confused on who was ahead and who was behind. Like
Yeah.
beside him is he's way behind him, and then he swerves into the 18-wheeler, and then I'm like, oh, Batman's actually 10 cars behind. What's going on? But I just didn't really care. I was like,
Right.
I was just like, bro, this is insane. It was so loud. It was so loud. It was I couldn't care what was going on. It was sick. Also, when it came out that it was PG-13, it just for them to announce it like that made me think that they were just gonna like barely slip under the radar, like it was gonna be as PG-13 as you can get, basically R. And I don't even know if it was as violent as Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises. I mean,
Really?
how many times did we see blood?
I mean, maybe the opening a little, but it's like a patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no, not much.
So
Or I guess it was just more just the aesthetic and the tone. I mean because like the second time I saw it with my dad, and then he was kind of taken aback by it a little bit. I mean they throw out like GD and F and an F bomb in there. And
yeah,
my dad was kind of like, dang, I didn't think they would do this with a superhero movie like this. I'm like, well, like Batman's sort of like a darker character and things like that. So
don't show him Deadpool.
yeah. But for like a PG-13.
For PG-13, that does make sense. Yeah.
Right. One last thing, I will say that after we got where we were going to be at like 2 hours and 35 minutes, it hangs around for 12 more minutes.
I felt,
there's quite a bit of movie on the end where you're like I kept waiting for like a crazy reveal or like something super nuts to happen, and then it just kind of ends, slowly fades away.
Excuse me. Like I know, like I feel like I get what you're getting at, like the ending of the movie. But for me, I remember like the first time, like that last like scene, like last like 5 minutes or whatever it was, between like two characters in particular. Like I couldn't help but have like a smile on my face.
It depends on your
I
investment. I feel like it depends on your investment in that and between those two that you're talking about. That would be the key there. But I do think before we get too deep into spoilers, we need to start getting into the rating guessing. Like we had mentioned before, I already have revealed mine, but you guys can take the time to try to guess mine while I try to guess theirs. They know mine, but I'm still going to take a shot at theirs. If y'all have them, I will. How are we going to spread this out?
Y'all want to guess mine?
Okay, let's go for a Jake guess.
All right. My favorite take on Batman, my most visually stunning Batman I've seen.
All right, I believe I have one.
All right.
Spencer?
Somebody do it. Okay.
I've got, this is my, Spencer's got it.
Spencer 9-5, Chun.
9-5, I've gone, can you see it? 9-2.
Oh.
9-4. Okay, 9-4.
That was the number I was stuck between, Spencer, and I feel like if I'm ever confused, if I'm ever caught between two, I always go with the lower one. So I went 9-4.
There you go.
Let me try to guess Spencer's now. Oh God.
All right. Now I'm going for Spencer's.
So good.
Isn't The Dark Knight in like your top 2?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. This might be low, but
With Spencer, a low guess is never the worst thing you can do. But I do got one in mind. I'm gonna shoot for
go
it.
first, John.
All right. I'm gonna take a shot here and say the 9.0 has been dropped.
See. No, I didn't even get to the 9.
Oh shoot.
Oh shoot, bro. Oh
86.
okay.
Going
All
with
right.
the IMDb rating on that one, Spencer.
And I will go ahead and for the I
Hold on.
probably should say
Let
it,
me
but
ask-
I'll write it out because I'm extra. This is what I went for. And that's why I'm kind of surprised because I thought for sure Spencer would be above me. But sometimes that happens the way the numbers come in. So 8-9 for me.
I guess there were other issues I had with it, but we didn't get to.
True. Yeah, you don't want to get too deep into them, but we'll have to. But
So do you
Eight.
recommend this movie?
Oh yeah.
yeah, I would as well because I was telling this to Jackson actually, who's not here, that I feel like I love movies that can do the technical stuff, but they also have the casual appeal. And this movie does that to the T. Like you can come in as someone who watches like one movie a year or someone like us and get something from it. I think that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So for sure. But all right. It's been real and we will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
See ya.